Welcome to the Common Man Football Show. My name is James Coburn, and today's episode, I figured I would do another NFL draft data outlier because I do want to talk about outliers when outliers exist in the data, just so that I'm as open and honest with you guys as much as possible, and also kind of showing you some, maybe not the limitations, but just kind of explaining to you this is the result of this player. And go from there, and also might question me kind of maybe me wanting to change the way that I grade players as well, with stuff like Pro Bowls and All Pros and stuff like that. Maybe change to some other sort of grading system for performance. But we're looking at Michael Vick today. Michael Vick, of course, a multiple Pro Bowl quarterback in the NFL. He's also someone that, based on data, did not hit the production threshold that the majority of Pro Bowl players hit, and his NFL data also has a couple question marks, particularly with him as a passer. As a runner, I don't need to show you highlight clips and stuff like that about what he was in terms of being able to rush and do stuff with his legs. Everybody knows Michael Vick. Like his brand is his ability to make crazy plays in terms of running the football. But I did want to highlight him just because he's a guy who did not quite hit all the thresholds indicative of a high quality NFL player, and it's debatable if he was one other than the athletic ability. And that's the biggest thing I wanted to get into this video is how do you, if you're a GM, if you're trying to make decisions and stuff like that, how do you kind of measure the pros and cons of a quarterback like this, especially when it flies in the face over what most of the data has been saying to win football games? Like the data, the players change, but the data stays the same. And I guess that's the big thing I wanted to kind of bring up as a discussion in this video is, it's not trying to exclude a player for any particular reason other than what they do on the football field and in these particular metrics doesn't match up with what most teams that win consistently do in these particular metrics. So starting with Michael Vick, when it comes to his production, when it comes to FBS production specifically, because this is where he's an outlier. I don't really have high school production of Michael Vick. I've been working on trying to get that, but the farther you get with high school football production, like when I tried to get production data on guys from the 90s, I ended up with like having to call high schools, and some of them didn't have data, and some of them had like word of mouth. Like it's sketchy at best, to say the least, to get high school production data past a certain point. And it's actually kind of sad that they don't keep better track of that kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't have high school production data for Michael Vick. Of course, he was a terrific high school player. He was a guy that developed his reputation from high school and then went into Virginia Tech from there. He was kind of a like a Terrell Pryor type of guy or a Tim Tebow type of guy. Developed a pretty crazy following from high school and then went into college football and then was amazing. That type of thing. And when you look at his FBS production, so again, this is FBS production score, which just takes into account his touchdown interception ratio, his completion percentage, all that stuff. He had a 75.97 out of 100, which did not hit the multiple Pro Bowl quarterback threshold of 80 or higher. Now, again, the majority of multiple Pro Bowl quarterbacks hit 80 or higher, with the exception of a couple guys. One is Michael Vick, who I'm going to be talking about today. Drew Bledsoe is another guy I'm going to be talking about in another video in the future. Brett Favre, of course, is another guy I'm going to be talking about in another video in the future. And then, of course, Matt Hasselbeck. There's been only 4 quarterbacks between 1958 and today to go on to become multiple Pro Bowl quarterbacks who did not hit 80 or higher. And the guy we're talking about today is Michael Vick. Now, other than his production, and the other thing, too, is he's the closest to 80 out of all those guys. So he's closer to the 80 score than Drew Bledsoe. He's closer to the 80 score than Brett Favre. And he's closer to the 80 score when it comes to Matt Hasselbeck. And that's another reason why I wanted to bring him up. But other than the production, the main thing I also wanted to highlight is just athleticism. Because Michael Vick, when I compared his athleticism data to all quarterbacks since the 99 NFL draft class. He had a 95.05 explosive or body strength score and a 99.20 speed score. He's pretty much one of the fastest quarterbacks for his size in a long time. Like, it's just ridiculous how fast he is for his size. The only guy who's better than him realistically in terms of speed for his size is Cam Newton, and again, that's because Cam Newton is 200. He's a giant. He's huge and he runs fast. Really fast. But yeah, Michael Vick, terrific athlete, of course. But where I kind of question whether he was an outlier or not is in his actual NFL production. And I'm not talking about him as a runner per se, but I'm talking about his NFL production as it pertains to him as a as a passer, because we could get in all day about because there's already these battles right now, and some of the Kaepernick stuff, and guys like RG3, and like there's a lot of sort of discussions and talk about, well, you need to let these running quarterbacks have a chance because they're really fun to watch and they're this or that. But let's get into this. So the basics with Michael Vick. So this is the basic data points with Michael Vick in terms of his career in the NFL. The only seasons that weren't included in this were seasons where he was injury. The 2003 season, for example, he didn't start enough that year because of injuries, and as a result, I just didn't include his data that year because of that issue. But when you look at his data from the basics of his data, so touchdown to interception ratio, completion percentage, yards per attempt, just yards per attempt, quarterback rating, he's never been, like his entire NFL career for the most part, he's mostly had a below average quarterback rating. He's mostly had a below average completion percentage throughout his entire NFL career. He's mostly had a below average touchdown interception ratio in terms of the majority of the seasons that he's played in the NFL. Like his overall statistics throughout most of his career has not been the most consistent. He's definitely had years where he was amazing. Like the Philadelphia year in 2010 was his best season by far out of any season that he's had in terms of efficiency and stuff like that. But he also was never really able to maintain that consistency, throughout his career. So just the basics of him, statistically speaking, has not been that great. And then when you get to as a passer, not as a runner, just as a passer, and then when you look at his overall completion percentage in different scenarios, first down completion percentage below average, second down completion percentage really bad, third down completion percentage really bad. 2004 just yellows across the board, and I don't want to put red. I don't want to make these red flags, but I mean he's just never been a guy that had a really, really high completion percentage. And some of this could be just because of the coaching or the offense that he's in, but you just can't ignore this stuff. At least to me, you can't ignore the deficiencies with him as a passer. And you need to have a high completion percentage to win a lot of football games. Based on data, it backs it up. In terms of 12 to 16 wins, 9 to 16 wins, 8 to 16 wins, or 0 to 7 wins, you need to have a good completion percentage in terms of first down, second down, third down, and fourth down. And he never really had one, except for the Eagle years. The years when he was on the Eagles, that was the only time where he actually had better completion percentage. And then when you actually look at his conversion rate, not that great either. I mean, Kaepernick was better. I mean, when it comes to conversion rate, the ability, because again, this chart basically deals with first down, second down, third down, and fourth down, first down conversion. So your ability to create a first down on first down, the ability to create a first down on second down, etc. And every season, even when he was with Andy Reid, his first down conversion rate was blah. His third down conversion rate was below average. So like he as a passer, so I guess this is the big thing I'm just trying to point out. Michael Vick, based on passing statistics coming out of college, didn't hit the Pro Bowl threshold. And in many ways, the reason why he became a multiple Pro Bowl player was because of things that really had nothing to do with him as a passer. You know, I mean, sure, he has a big arm. Sure, he can make a spectacular play every now and again with his arm, and we've seen him make these types of plays, which are amazing. You know, when Michael Vick is able to throw the football down the football field, it's pretty. He throws some of the prettiest deep balls out there, but consistency with him was never there. You know, he was never a guy who was incredibly consistent when it comes to his passing ability. So my biggest question again is he really a data outlier? Considering that Pro Bowl, like his Pro Bowl prowess had nothing to do with his passing ability, you know. I mean, because if he didn't have his rushing ability, like if Michael Vick wasn't Michael Vick, you know, who was easily one of the best rushing quarterbacks in the NFL in a while, in terms of just his overall athletic ability and just his instincts and just everything like that. If he didn't have that, he probably wouldn't have had as long of a career as he had because of how bad he was as a passer. So I guess that's just kind of the main thing I wanted to highlight. Is again, Michael Vick is someone that, if a player like this comes out in the future, a guy that's athletic, who does not have the best passing system, doesn't really come off as a Pro Bowl player. Do Pro Bowls even matter? Is the other sort of thing. Should I just focus on grading quarterbacks based on what their statistics say at the NFL level and just take it from that kind of perspective? Because I can do that. I mean, it'll take me a lot of work to get the thresholds where I need them to be, in terms of consistency and, what their career arcs basically, because there's going to be guys that are going to have a really great year here and there, but the great ones, the really, really good passing, quarterbacks are typically guys who perform well, year after year. They're consistently good year after year. But I just figured, I wanted to get this video out there to kind of show what I'm trying to say is that, even though Michael Vick is, a data outlier, because based on the data, based on how I've been doing my grading system, in terms of multiple Pro Bowls, and he was a multiple Pro Bowl player, he doesn't quite fit the mold of a Pro Bowl player as a passer. And the ultimate goal of evaluation, at least to me, the ultimate goal of your evaluations is to get quarterbacks, is to get players that are going to win you more football games consistently. And although Michael Vick was an extremely exciting player and was amazing, it was just a human highlight reel in certain seasons, especially in college at Virginia Tech, he just wasn't a guy who was able to consistently win football games, with a lot of that being his inconsistencies as a passer. Because at the end of the day, and I know, and there's all this well, get you a guy who can do both. I hear that a lot. And sure, having a quarterback that can rush and get first downs is beneficial, is helpful to offense. But guys like Drew Brees, guys like Peyton Manning, guys like Tom Brady, guys like Russell Wilson, guys, all the, Aaron Rodgers, all those guys, yeah, they got rushing ability, but they're also tremendous passers as well when it comes to converting on first down, second down, when it comes to completion percentage, when it comes to all that kind of stuff. The quarterbacks that succeed and continue to succeed are the ones that do well in terms of being passers. So even the ones that are athletic typically do well. Even Cam Newton, and you guys have seen my Cam Newton video. He's not as bad of a passer as people say he is. He has things that he should improve on, but he's not exactly the worst passer ever, by any stretch of the imagination. So yeah, I guess that was kind of the main thing I wanted to get out there. So of course, my name is James Coburn. You can find my work at draftcoburn.wordpress.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at Geometrics. And if you like this content and you want more content like this, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Share this video as well with anybody that you know, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.